Let me tell you guys about Belly Up Sports. Belly Up Sports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. Belly Up Sports is the premier, not your average website.
Ligue 1, we are at the halfway point of the season, or at least quote unquote the halfway point of the season, because we're taking a break. So for you guys that are gonna flip out because they're like, oh, wait a minute, the tables are. I look at the tables right now. No, the tables doesn't look like this. If you're watching the video version, there somewhere around the video is gonna say the date of when we're discussing this, so that way you guys know that's when we talked about it. Things could change. Obviously, it's Saturday for people that are listening to the audio version. It's Saturday, December 13th. So yes, I mean the table's going to change because there's still like a few matches that need to be played on Sunday. So yes. I totally understand it, but it's the midway point. It's not when we're at the end of the road when the table's set. That's when I should probably be worried about being more accurate. Right now we're fine. I don't think it's gonna be drastic changes as we go in here, but yeah. So if you guys don't fully are aware with Ligue 1, it is an 18-team table. Relegation is from 18th to 17th. 16th technically, but they get a play-in game. So they have a chance to actually stay on Ligue 1. Obviously, 6th place gets a Europa Conference League spot. Europa League goes to 5th, and then 2nd, 3rd, and 4th obviously are in a Champions League, except 4th gets a play-in for Champions League. So that's where it kind of gets a little interesting there. And then, obviously, the champion, which, obviously pretty straightforward. Surprise, surprise. It's PSG, which I forgot to type in. PSG currently on top of the table. I don't think there's any surprise to it. I think, and obviously, Moussa, you are the PSG fan. The true PSG fan.
That's starting a fight, but yeah, born and raised. Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'll say it like that. But obviously, because when the money came in and the names came in, obviously that was a team that most people hopped on immediately after. But you were there before the money, so
way before
the money. But obviously, currently on top of the table with 36 points. Anything that obviously a lot different from last year because PSG was undefeated going into this part of the year last year. But what do you feel that's a little bit different from this PSG's team? Feels a little bit quiet. I don't think people are talking about PSG as much in recent time. Obviously, a team that completed something as massive as the treble that they accomplished this past season, and almost had a quadruple when winning the.
But they actually had quadruple. I think what was missing.
the Super Cup difference, right?
Yeah, and so they pretty much had 4. Yeah.
Oh, so they were on the cusp of having a 5th trophy if it wasn't for Chelsea.
Yes.
But yeah, amazing, spectacular year for PSG last year under Luis Enrique. A very emotional, run for the Champions League. But what is it about this PSG team that maybe we're just not focusing on right now?
Well, I think maybe it's the fatigue, maybe of talking about, what everything they've accomplished. But also, I think one of the biggest thing that I see now is since like Dembele and Doué have been injured and kind of been in and out. So sort of like the excitement of what people were not aware of before. And I think it's maybe just the excitement. The excitement is not as like when PSG is fully healthy, and that they were running through people. Mm-hmm. So I think they were still winning games, managing games, but it were more, I guess we'll say, normal way of winning versus, winning 3-0, 4-0, and Dembele making plays that we not necessarily have seen him do in previous years.
A Ballon d'Or year as well.
Yeah.
So
which is still early. I think it's also early I think in most Europe, it's still early to start jumping the wagon and says who's supposed to be the best player of the year because
honestly, it's anybody.
That much game.
it's still anybody's at least front runner for Ballon d'Or. I think everybody. If any, to be honest, like maybe you could throw Mbappe into that conversation, but in reality, like with everything that's going on with Real Madrid this season, like maybe that's even a questionable because obviously team performance also comes into play for the Ballon d'Or. So Mbappe can score all the goals he wants. I mean, he's incredible at it, but I mean, if it's not reflective for Real Madrid to have any sort of success, the way things are looking right now for Real Madrid, it's kind of hard to like put him as the front runner. And so honestly, right now it's still anybody's game. There's no player that's really like popping out on me. Like Lamine Yamal, is probably going to be discussed at some point, but he's not necessarily jumping off the screen to you so far. At least in my opinion, this season I could be a hater.
I think it's just a lot of the bad noise. That's what's mostly happening now. And I think also the World Cup is not helping much of the hype as well. Because this is all we talk about now. And the AFCON.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then AFCON's going to happen, which hopefully that's going to boost someone's stock for the Ballon d'Or. At least I would hope it would.
Well, that'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Yes. But I think that's the part where a lot of the players that have kind of come out of their shell or have come back from injuries. And I think that's where the glitz and glamour of what PSG and their run kind of slowed down versus last year where it was just no matter who you are, we'll run through you.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely. But yeah, right now PSG on top of the table, behind them with 34 points. In second place, RC Lens. That is, I'm like every year. It's always this one team that's just like I'm familiar with them, obviously, because I do watch Ligue 1 from time to time. I do use Ligue 1 a lot when it comes to EA Sports FC, and it's just interesting because Lens normally you see them kind of as like a mid-table team, kind of flirts with relegation. But here they are having an opportunity. I'm trying to think of the team from last season that had I don't think it was Rennes, but there was another team that was last year that was like, oh look, they're up here on top with the teams in Champions League, or it could be Lens. Oh no, Brest.
That's the one that people were talking about, yes, because of the special name. But yes,
yeah. So, but yeah, so it was really interesting to see them. Right now in second with 34 points, they're right behind PSG. So I think that was interesting. Third place, obviously Marseille, rivals to PSG with 29 points, and right behind them, also with 29 points, fourth place Lille, who's currently in that play-in spot for the Champions League. As and honestly, I think what's really interesting right now for Ligue 1 is maybe not second place. I probably wouldn't say that, but kind of third place all the way down to 10th place. A lot of shifting could happen come the second half of the season because they're all very much within each other.
Yeah, and if you think about it too, if you watch, like, if you go 10 or pretty much 9, Strasbourg, which is the Chelsea team that actually they also last year have made a lot of noise, being in the top 10. So it's kind of weird to see them playing at that bad. And then if you look, Monaco, who has Pogba and Fetty, those I would have expected them to be a lot closer to the top 5. So that's why you see kind of that break between 9 and 5, we'll say, because Lyon is also supposed to be a good team. They still have a lot of financial issues, so that's what's keeping them in the middle. But all of those teams are supposed to be Champions League caliber.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why with 9-1, even though PSG has a little bit of gap with Marseille, but other than that, we'll say 9-2 is still for the taking.
Yeah, I really think so. I think that, and obviously, unfortunately with teams like Lens, I'm not trying to throw jabs at these guys, but you have a really strong first half of the season, and then, kind of that, unfortunately, as someone that likes Arsenal, starts really hot, really strong, and then just sizzles out in that second half, and there's a lot of costly mistakes where then they're on the outside looking in. And so I hope that doesn't happen with Lens. I hope they can keep this momentum going. Hopefully, maybe in the January transfer window, maybe they add another thing just to push them over the edge for that second half of the season. And this is like where the real strategy comes into play, right? Like this is where those teams were like, shoot, we have something good going. We could get stronger, and then really do something here. I mean, a prime example, PSG. Obviously they're on top of the table last year, but you go and get Kvaratskhelia, and just was a straight home run addition to the team because I think he was very much an important piece to solidify that quadruple that they had last year.
Yes.
So that's where it comes, the January transfer window. I know, like, as far as MLS people, we talk a lot of crap about the January transfer window, but in the European setting, that is such an pivotal moment, especially if you're that team that's like, we're good right now, but we could be so much better. And I hope that's what happens with Lens. But like I said, Rennes is not that far away from Champions League spot with 27 points in fifth. Lyon, they're also not that far out from it. I mean, the only thing that's hurting them right now is their financial situation, which I still don't know how they got out of it. They were supposed to get relegated last year because they failed to get to that. And then I didn't see any changes that they did besides selling Cherokee. But they're here. They're still here. They technically have Matt Turner. You technically have Matt.
So where is he now?
Yeah, I don't know. He's not playing right now, but so I don't know. He should be getting called up, but I guess Leon doesn't really need him. Which was funny because at one point Matt Turner was the only goalkeeper in Leon's roster, and then they're like, you know what? Let's ship him out on loan because we can't afford him. So
yeah, I'm sure that was the true reason.
Yeah, like you say ninth, I'll be 10th because 10th has like 22 points, so they're not that like far away from it as well. Which that 10th place team is actually
Angers.
Angers. Yeah. Okay, I always say Angers, but I'm glad that you.
Angers.
That's what helps having you here is because Edward likes to make fun of me butcher these French names, and now I have someone that actually speaks French. But Angers, I'm going to start using that.
Before you know it, yes.
Before you know it, I'm going to get back on the Duolingo and and work on my French again. Because Bossy got excited because I knew how to say orange.
Orange? Oh, yeah.
Which I was like, oh, that's how you say it?
It's orange, yes.
And then on the flip side, the bottom half of the table, you could also argue could have some changes. Maybe not 18th or 17th place. That Metz and Nantes. Is it Nantes?
Nantes.
Yeah. Those two they're definitely getting relegated. I don't see anything happen. Which I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for 16th place. Well, maybe jump over current 16th place Auxerre. I would imagine that could maybe be some shifts. But I mean, when you look at 15th to 11th place, it's 15 points to 19 points right now as far as they have in point total. Like, same thing as we said, slip up, and next thing you know, you're getting relegated. They're not that far away from the bottom, so that's why I'm saying like the second half, like the bottom half of the table on the other side, it's still anybody's game as far as that relegation zone.
Yeah, I'm still I guess amazed because if you watch Metz, Nantes, Auxerre, Le Havre, and Paris FC, which is, well, I won't say Paris FC, but the last four is like historical French soccer teams, which is kind of weird to see him that much low. And Paris FC, I guess, just came up, so they're just trying to find their footing. So it's good and bad to see teams being so close to each other on the bottom half, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paris FC makes a run to get out of relegation.
Yeah, I think obviously Paris FC, a very interesting story. Obviously, their return to. Well, is this a return to the top flight?
Oh yes, they've been gone. No, this is no, they're brand new.
Brand new.
Yes,
I gotta ask. The fact that you could just walk across the street to each stadium. Did you at any time where when you lived in Paris, were you ever like, let's just go to this Paris FC game? Like,
no,
okay,
no. So here's the fun story of these two teams. So Paris Saint-Germain, PSG have decided that even though they're in the city of Paris, but they are going to represent the city and all of the arrondissement around um, Paris. So they're not just the center of Paris, but they're representing everything that's around it.
Mm-hmm.
And Paris FC wanted to be the capital team. So that's where it kind of differentiate. That's why their fandom it's very different because one kind of reached out to everybody around the city of Paris and the suburbs and everything else compared to Paris FC was just the city's team.
Oh wow.
That's why it became so much bigger and one to the other.
Oh, okay. That's an
But then
interesting dynamic.
yes, but then now Paris FC has what the second richest or third richest man because he owns all the Louis Vuitton and
Oh
all that
man,
all
like
that luxury brand
that
is
fashion money.
the same person that owns it. And I wouldn't be surprised if at any time then the floodgates open, which will then make it a very interesting where the two stadiums are right next to each other, billionaires spending money. I'm kind of interested to see what would happen.
Yeah, definitely, right? Like, I mean, if if Ligue 1's being decided, oh, like Paris between Paris teams, that's
That'd be interesting. That'd be a
a
good movie.
a home divided in some sense. But
Yeah.
right now, currently the leading goal scorer in Ligue 1 is Mason Greenwood from
Oh
Marseille.
boy. Mm.
Uh, Obviously a very controversial player.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, to say the least. But
You were
you know,
kind.
Marseille did give him a shot. Yeah, I look. I've said a lot of things with Mason Greenwood. I've literally had a whole discussion dedicated to Mason Greenwood. Um, at the end of the day, look, if he's got his redemption, that's all for him. Clearly he's trying to do his best to move on from it. And you know, he's doing it here with Roberto De Zerbi, of all people, to be managing Marseille. And this Marseille team, I know you don't want to say any nice things about them, but they are kind of entertaining to watch as a team. And obviously, I'm invested personally because of Tim Weah. But
Yeah.
it's been yeah. So Mason Greenwood definitely been a huge benefactor. You have Aubameyang also on the squad here.
He returned home. Yep.
And so it's been really interesting over there with Marseille. Mason Greenwood really a really important piece to that team. It's been very clear. Obviously, they've been trying to make shouts for him to return to the English national team. Don't think that's happening, but
No, he got Jamaica.
yeah, which I'm still waiting for that to happen. I still haven't seen him even go to. I guess he was hoping for the World Cup, for them to be in the World Cup, and then that's when he would make his announcement. But I mean,
Yeah, they still have work to do.
yeah, because I don't know how patient Leon Bailey is at this point. I think he might kind of retire from the national team, which would be unfortunate. The leading assist man right now is Vitinha. He has 6 assists so far this season. So yeah, it's a really interesting for the second half. What as far as you Moussa, what are some things that you're looking forward to in the second half of the season for Ligue 1? Like, is there any like storylines that you're very much intrigued going into that second half?
Well, other than PSG, like it's kind of roster coming back to being a little bit more healthy, see what they can do. And of course, there's that continental tournament. I guess that's not many people are talking about. Uh, but I think the biggest story that the whole world is watching is Pogba, coming back and playing. We see that he's doing quite well at this moment, and this is some of the flair that he has. I'm just curious to see how that will help inspire Monaco to the battle to maybe come to second place because I don't want them to be first, of course.
Yeah, I think Monaco is an interesting team to follow. They did go out this summer transfer window, went and got some new additions. Obviously,
Yeah.
Paul Pogba being a very significant signing only for his bounce back. Obviously, all that he had to deal with, the whole
And
doping.
Fati as well.
Ansu Fati, a player that would really love to have his redemption arc begin, because obviously maybe Barcelona hyped him up a little too early.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously he would love to get his opportunity to really. I mean, he's had his moments. I've watched a few of Monaco's games. He doesn't. It's not that he's terrible, by any means, but yeah, I don't know. But Monaco, I mean, with the players that they have, it's gotta start clicking at some point, right?
Yeah, and I think that's just that part. And there's a few Senegalese internationals as well that are doing their thing there. So I think it's just a question of, like you said, clicking and see what they can do. And what I'm hoping is, in the world of soccer or the Champions League, where there's not just one French team that's doing well. I want to see him kind of compete with the EPL and others. He says, hey, we have 3 or 4 teams in the Champions League, and we don't have to be above and beyond excellence to make noise, and people recognize that Ligue 1 is actually producing some of the best players in the world that everybody then cherry pick.
Yeah, I kind of hate that's how it was. One, Ligue 1 is in fact a Power Five. It's in the Power Five leagues of Europe. Like when you talk about like the top leagues in Europe, France is being discussed there. And obviously, I think it's mainly specifically the Prem fans that always want to throw out the Farmers League title onto you guys. But I mean, you can't diss a league when so many important players have come out of that league, and that's props to obviously the one France's development as far as like developing young players. I mean, at one point, Lyon just kept giving some. Benzema came out of that. A lot of Algerian based players came out of Lyon at one point. I felt like I was just like, that's like the Renaissance of Algeria, I guess. And
if you think about it,
it kind of did.
yeah. And if you think about it, if you watch all of the teams that won Champions League in the recent 10 years or won crazy trophy in EPL, there's maybe 2 or 3 French players there. Where do you think they come from? Real Madrid had a huge run. Who do you think was there? So I think it's nice to see that PSG is getting the recognition, Monaco, Marseille, and all that. But for Ligue 1, what I'm curious to see is if can have 3 or 4 teams making those runs, and then people can start realizing that without French football, there is probably not even much EPL or much of soccer, I guess. But that's my soapbox.
Also, you could thank Arsene Wenger. So,
well, yeah, that too. I mean, Arsenal can thank the French coalition for the Invincibles.
Yeah, they definitely could. They definitely should.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that you made a good point about Monaco. I think PSG, like, despite the issues that they're having as far as health goes, still be on top of the table. So that just tells you, like, when this team's healthy, like when they're at their fittest, this team is Vitinha is just gonna get more stats come his way, and I'm sure we'll start seeing some PSG names dropped up on the top goal scorer list as well. So I mean, the second half is going to be interesting. Is there, as far as a PSG fan, like, is there a player right now that you're kind of like seeing for that January transfer window that you would love to be brought into this PSG team?
I think for PSG, they don't have to do much because you don't want to mess up with the chemistry. I think for them mostly is just to bring back their players, the healthy ones, and pretty much will be a totally different roster. I don't see any players unless the scouts finding someone that's a rough diamond. I don't see anyone that's either in the move or looking to move that in January. Because right now there's knowing that the World Cup is coming soon and all of that. I don't know if there's that many players that will
Want to
big
take
name
that risk.
players that would want to move just now because it could be good or bad, right?
Mhm.
You can have the worst World Cup and then your stock goes down, but you could have the best World Cup and then. So
Completely fair.
I'm curious to see what January is going to look like. I don't think there will be that much movement
I
because
mean,
clubs will
and
want
and
to.
Endrick does seem to be. I believe it's still happening that he's getting loaned out to Lyon.
Yeah, but you see, as you can see, he's like his stock was already high. It's just dropping down
Because he's not playing.
already, and he's not even playing.
Yeah.
So I think for him, it's him. For Henrik, is to go and play for Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He has to justify because right now he's not playing. You're not playing.
Mm-hmm.
But him is like trying to get him out of his bad situation.
Do you see the possibility of Endrick joining that Lyon team? Like, do you see him helping improve Lyon in their current situation? Right now, obviously, sixth place Europa Conference. Can he help at least jump him up a few
He
spots?
could if he comes healthy and in the right mindset. Because right now he's been rotting on the bench for too long, and I think it will almost depend up to him. Because if he goes to Lyon and thinks he's the big guy on campus and he's going to start right away, he's gonna have a rude awakening on that part.
That's a very fair point. The kid that just goes to Real Madrid already has a huge New Balance deal.
Yeah. You got everything already and you got dropped. So I don't, unless you go to other leagues that are lower, I don't think in League One they'll be like, oh, he's Henrik. We have to,
Respect him.
yeah, no. I mean, you saw what they did to Messi, so
Yeah.
Henrik is nowhere near anything to that stature. So yes.
Definitely, I agree with that one. But yeah, that's League On. It's gonna be really obviously the first half has been very interesting. Really can't wait to see how the second half is gonna go. Obviously, Moussa, thank you for coming on and talking about League On. But this is your time, man. Like let the people know what's going on. Obviously, I mean, look at your background. You're decked out with Senegal. AFCON is literally well, by the time this episode drops, days away.
Yeah.
So tell all the people that can go find you and see your coverage of AFCON.
Yeah, so it's all on Mo Football TV. I will be recording a live session where we go over the group stage and give our tentative predictions. One was going to be your hard biased one, and the other one will be the unbiased, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, we'll be covering a lot more of, the games, live watch alongs, interviews, and maybe, Hector will come to one of those shows and talk about what he learned from his dark horse. And I think same, right? World Cup talk, MLS talk, and just youth development. That's pretty much what we'll be doing for the next 12 to 16 months.
Who is that guy?